guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today, we're going to try something a little new. We're going to talk about games we played. That's normal.
We're
going to talk about news. That's normal.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about crowdfunding. That's normal.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a top five. We're going to just start. We're going to try a thing where we do top fives on a different show.
Okay.
Like a little more concise thing where it's just top fives straight through. But today, we are going to just talk about a game topic that we find interesting. So we're going to talk about the perfect game length.
We should also talk about liking and subscribing. Make sure you ring the bell and subscribe to our videos, and so you know when everything comes out.
Like or dislike. I don't know. Is this intro terrible? Who cares?
It might be.
Dislike it.
Yeah.
Right. And tell Bob why the intro is terrible.
Yeah, we'll work
We
on
also, coming very soon, we'll have a video for a giveaway that we're doing for Edge of Darkness. If you haven't heard about that, it'll be up there once it's out.
All we need is 500 subscribers and for you to comment on that video to be eligible to win.
that. Yeah.
It's pretty simple. So, we ready to go, right?
I think we're ready to go.
All right, so we took a little field trip
We did.
and we got some games played this weekend.
We had to get a permission card or whatever it's called.
A permission slip.
Permission slip sign. Yep. By
Oh,
his
boy.
supervising adult.
I don't have kids. Sorry, I don't deal with those.
Yeah. Oof, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's a trap.
But yeah, so we went to my sister's for a birthday party / going away
away,
party for a
yeah.
mutual friend. And so we got to play a bunch of games. Well, I got to play a bunch of games.
I played a couple.
I played a couple.
Literally.
I played a couple literally. Well, I guess not a few.
I played a few.
Sure. So I guess I'll go first since I have more.
Sure.
First thing we did is I taught Dan how to play Ascension with another friend.
Yep.
It is a deck builder. I mean, it plays like a standard deck builder. You're drawing cards. You're buying cards from the lineup.
Beating things up.
And you're beating things up. The interesting thing that Ascension does is that your money or your buying is different from your combat. So you have cards that will give you combat. So sort of like Legendary, right? So you've got cards that provide combat versus cards that... And so there might be monsters that pop up in the lineup. You beat them. They don't go to your deck. They just go to the void, and you get glory points,
And
right?
whatever effect they give you.
Right,
Sure.
right. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And in a way, because of the way there is a fixed pool of honor, and that triggers endgame.
Yep.
So one of the things I like about it is that makes the games very brisk, which is
Right.
kind of on topic for today, right?
Put the time
Yeah.
in.
We're talking about, because the game definitely will not overstay its welcome, because it's going to go fast. But so I've played Ascension a ton.
Yeah, that was my first time. I liked it. I mean, it's very basic. Again, it's like on that level of Dominion and Arctic Scavengers, like where it's a deck builder, and that's what you're doing is building a deck, and getting the points or whatever, right? And I liked it. Do you not like it only because you've played the Legacy version or whatever?
There's no legacy version.
Oh, there's no legacy version.
Aeon's End, I think it was.
That's
Aeon's
End.
End.
And I'm the one that
No,
is
it's a
luke-
fine game.
I'm the one that's lukewarm on Aeon's End.
I
I've
just
only
couldn't
played
tell
once.
if he was joking. Bob walked in the room while we were playing, and he went like, ugh, and then left, and I couldn't tell if it was a joke.
The game I was playing was much cooler. So
Yeah,
that's
sure.
mostly why I commented like that.
Oh, you
Anyway.
were playing that? Yeah.
Yeah. Which we'll get into. But no, I dig Ascension. I've played it online quite a bit. I've actually backed the Tactics version of it.
Right.
I'm excited to check that out.
I like the universe.
I like the universe, and I like how they have like the different factions, right? So you can kind of go towards like, the
Lifebound, Enlightened,
Yeah.
Mechana, or Void.
That
There
was
you
my,
go.
That was my
I haven't played
takeaway.
much.
yeah, right.
That was my takeaway. Was the cool again? It reminded me of what I liked about the ICP thing, right?
Right.
Where you have these different factions that work with each other. Like almost the whole game, I was just buying Lifebound. I created this engine with it, and every once in a while, there's no Lifebound, or there's a really good ability on a Void, and you're like, yeah, I'll take that. But like, you get these cards, okay, if I play this, I get to play this, and that's the best part of games like
My
that.
biggest beef with Ascension is that there's so much of it, and you can combine it all together. Your deck can be like this, so you might not get to like some of the cards you're looking for.
Interesting.
I only do that in the app. I would never do that in real life.
Yeah, okay,
Because
that makes sense too.
I have played DC where you can mash and it's too much.
It is, and it's really hard.
And
to
I
get, like,
love
things to
that
sync up.
Yeah.
That's my biggest beef with
Okay.
it. But other than that, it's nothing wrong with the game. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, or like Star Realms, right? Star Realms kind of plays in a similar way where you've got combat versus
Oh,
except
sure.
you're attacking other people.
Yeah,
instead of
different
the
types
monsters.
of currency.
Right. Currency. That's a good way for it. What is it? But yeah, so Ascension.
Yep.
Okay.
That was good.
Fun little game.
Yeah.
I played for the first time Canvas.
Yeah.
Oh, for the first time. Okay.
First time played it, and I thought it was solid.
It's pretty.
It's pretty. It's nice. It's simple.
I played quick.
We cover Canvas here.
Yeah. Check it out.
It's up there. I kind of like the Century or the mechanic where you drop your little pallets to
Great
buy
mechanic.
a different card.
Yep.
Is really nice because it
small
gives
world.
you some options. Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to see
what types of pictures you can
what
make.
the pictures, and then
the
they've all got a
names.
title,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how it makes
Those
a title.
names are great,
Yeah.
man.
So that's the fun part of
what
it.
what I kind of underestimated when I was playing was that is the layering
Yeah.
potentially, because you
'Cause
might
can- just flipping it makes you 2 different things.
Yeah,
Like,
huge
what-
difference.
Yeah.
and because you're combining 3 cards,
Correct.
and so there's the possibility that your blues are going to overlap. So then it's like, well, which blue do I need?
want? Correct.
And in the way that can work. And then I'm assuming that there's always going to be different scoring.
Yeah, they have like packages, right? You'd be like, oh, for like to do this kind of a concept or this kind of a concept, you can pick what end game ones you want,
sure.
or you can just deal them out randomly.
Yeah, I think they were just dealt out
Probably.
randomly.
That's the
And-
typical way. But on the back of the book, if you look, there's like, oh, if it's for beginners, do this, or if you want to try
Oh,
a hard
sure.
mode, do this, or if you want to do like go after a certain aspect of the, so it's different ways you can set it up.
Right on. But it's a very well produced game. I
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was.
The fact
Yeah.
that the box is designed to hang on your wall
Yeah.
like an actual
It's
canvas.
pretty neat.
Yeah, I made it hang
awesome.
on the wall, but I have it displayed like a piece of
Yeah.
art at how.
Yeah,
pretty nice.
it's really solid.
My
It's-
favorite part of the game is when you have to explain what your painting means to,
Oh,
to
sure.
everyone,
What does
right?
it
Like,
mean to
so like
you?
you just have like a balloon in the sky and the silhouette of a person looking down at a flower, and it's called Eternal Darkness, and you're like, well, here's what this is supposed to invoke, and that's my favorite part of the game.
And we were playing with Troy, so we got
Oh,
very
yeah.
elaborate
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I
explanations
love
Sure.
for everything.
We should have got like some wine and like some cheese trays.
Yeah. How does this
Right.
make you feel?
So I'll let you guys get into some of yours, and then I'll catch
yeah,
up.
while you were playing Ascension, I was learning a game called Mechanica. I think it's what it was called.
Mechanica?
Mechanica.
think
I'm not
so.
sure how it's actually pronounced. Maybe it's Mechanica. Sounds more appropriate.
That feels easier, at least.
Easier to say. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that
Mechanica?
Machina Arcana.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's what I was kind
Yeah.
of thinking. But yeah, Mechanica. So you've got a dual layer player board.
What?
And then it's you've got a standard factory on there, then you can buy new factory upgrades, and there's 3 types of robots. There's like the little white ones, there's a bigger orange one, and there's a tall purple one. And they upgrade. And then as you what's neat is like the bottom of the box is like part of like the
It's like part of the player
part of the board,
right?
correct? Yeah, and it has this cool wheel on it, and so you populate the wheel with some of these puzzle pieces because they all like interlock, right? And they've got like conveyor belts on them, and then you have a chance to buy what's on there. Then when you pass the turn, it rotates, and then you fill in the next slot. But then there's an empty slot, so as it goes around and it turns, if you don't buy a piece, it drops down into the recycle bin, and it's gone for the rest of the game. So that was a really neat like kind of like setup. And
Yeah, because I
whatnot.
walked by and that was like the first thing that caught my eye.
Yeah.
Was the inside of that box.
Yeah,
like,
and it's rotating and it's dropping pieces into the thing.
and I really wanted to mess with it. But
yeah,
it's like, well,
woo! yeah, no.
right. It's like going up to a game of Zolkin and
Yeah.
just spinning the dials.
Yeah. But no, so, like I really liked this game, but I wanted more turns. And I know
Oh,
some
sure.
people say like, "Oh, that's a sign of a good game" because he just wants you to take an extra turn. But it's like by the time I was able to get my factory up and running, and I'm making doubles, and you have to have trucks to catch everything as it comes out the end of the line, so you could sell it and this and that. And it's like, even if the end just had like one more operate your factory, because that's where you like push everything down the line and spit it out. Like that would have let me get a few more
Do
things at the end.
There's
you know
a
what I
big
mean?
difference between like wishing you had one more turn and feeling like you accomplished nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Feeling
I mean,
that it's incomplete.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, and I did okay. I got lucky because like one of the cards in the last round that flipped up, I was able to then buy with the bits that I had left over. But it just seemed like it needed like one more push through. Because like the first thing you do like at the start of the round, right? Because like not each person's turn, but the start of the round is you then basically your conveyor belts move, right?
Sure.
So everything on the belts moves down, it triggers everything and whatnot. And then when it's your turn, you can choose what to do with what you have in your trucks.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wish I had like one more,
So
push through.
do you think like maybe playing this another time or two would actually tell you if that was the real experience, or do you think that is actually the real experience? And that because sometimes you can go, no, I'm pretty sure I've got a grasp on this game, and that this is just what it is.
Yeah, and I'm sure like going into it, if I had known like how it was gonna go, I've been more prepared for it.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously.
Well, like any really tight
Game,
engine builder,
right.
like even Agricola, right? Like it is very punishing if you make a mistake early or
on.
don't absolutely maximize like every single move, right? So is it because
It's
it
not-
looks?
I wouldn't say
it
super
looks
punishing.
so. It looks so cutesy, right?
It is very cutesy.
to
yes.
to be that cruel.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, I just think it could have used an extra turn for me. Like it could have been because it was my first game and I wasn't ready for it to end, and I needed that last push to get my robots. I was finally able to upgrade everything.
So
but
what
it didn't
triggers
push it
what
out.
triggers end game?
You run out of puzzle pieces, right? So there's a stack of like these puzzle pieces that are all your conveyor belts and like upgraders, downgraders, all those different pieces. And then every turn you're rotating that thing and you're adding one piece, adding one piece, adding one piece. Once the last piece is gone, it's done.
So you could, in theory, know how many turns you're
Oh,
gonna
you
have?
absolutely know how many turns you have.
No, that's
but
fine.
I needed another turn to get all my stuff
No, that's
out.
fine. I was just wondering because sometimes like games like that where it's like when this runs out.
Yeah, it's not like it came out of nowhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. And when it started getting low, we're like, okay, we only have 2 more turns left. You're like,
Because you can
I
do
need
things
3.
like I'm gonna end the game now because if Bob gets another turn.
Correct.
So
You can't
I just
do
wasn't
that.
sure if there was a way if people were messing with that because like Agricola basically has a set amount of turns.
Sure.
And if you don't get everything done you need to do in your 12 turns or whatever.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, like Orleans too, right? You got a stack of things. You go through one each time. When
Right.
it's out, it's out, it's done.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay.
It's the same, thing
Kinda
as that, but I wasn't ready for it.
Sure.
So,
Sure. I guess I'd just be interested to see.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying makes me not want to like it looked cool enough that it's like, man, I just kind of want to have this game. But like hearing what you're saying is like maybe I don't want that game because I feel like while I might enjoy it with you guys, I may not be able to get it played with like newer
More
or
casual
lighter,
type
more
of-
casual players.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I feel because there are like a lot of games where it's like it's super tight. You gotta know what you're doing. Like that Alchemist game I was explaining.
Right.
It's like you have to know what you're doing to be able to decipher everything and know what you're getting. In this set amount of turns. But when you're new to the game, you're like, man, and like finally you're getting to the end. You're like, oh, okay, I got it now. And you're like, oh wait, it's over.
Right.
And like and that's
Sure.
kind of how I felt like, oh, it's over. I mean, even though I knew it was coming, I wanted that extra turn.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I'm glad you
Okay.
played it.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think I would have seen it and by the design of it and everything, assumed it was a
like
lighter,
a
lighter game.
Exactly.
But-
And it is not that light.
My games are on your guys' list, so you might as well
Okay.
go through till you get to them.
All right, let's see. Well, the next game I played with Dan
Okay.
and Tim, Praga Caput.
Nope, not with me. With Patrick.
You didn't play that one with
No,
us?
Tim
No.
didn't play it.
I got to play like
It was
7 other
Patrick and
games
it was,
because you.
Oh, that's right, because you were playing the other one.
Yes. yeah, you and Chris. And
Oh, that's right. It was Chris.
Yeah, Chris
Patrick.
and Patrick. Yeah.
Yep. Praga Caput Regni.
Regni, I knew. I
Regni?
didn't know the second word.
I'm guessing it's Caput because that means end, right? And it's supposed to
Yeah.
be the end of the reign.
Okay.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, Praga.
Yep. Praga.
Super crunchy.
Yeah, really crunchy. Yeah. Good game.
Did
Funny.
you feel like it ended too soon?
No.
No.
Hilarious though that
Yeah.
Bob went from a game where you take a piece out, put another piece in a thing that spins, and then
Yeah.
something drops,
Uh-huh.
and he went to a game where you take a piece out, you put a piece in, it spins, and a piece drops.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah,
What?
Yeah. Because that one was super neat.
It
too,
doesn't
though.
work the same way, but like
Quite the same
a
way.
cube like
Yeah,
drops when you
as-
know the round is over in the thing. It's really
Yeah.
That's
cool.
hilarious.
Yeah, because there's a big wheel, and they have these like dual hexed pieces, and as you pull one out, like you're gonna get to choose from those actions, right? And then plus where you took it out of has an icon on it. Or you're gonna
Okay.
gain that
Possibly a
resource.
cost or reward.
Correct. And so then you're going to do that. You're going to take your action, and then that wheel will rotate, and then it goes back at the top, which is like the most expensive spot, right?
Sure.
So it costs you money to get these out, and the ones at the bottom are free. And if people continue to pass, they become worth victory points if you take them.
Gotcha.
Right? But then there's also a cube in there, and as it goes around, and the cube gets to a certain spot, it falls into a dual layer part of that board, and it stops the gear from turning.
Nice.
And then that triggers you move the little like
Yeah, it
turn
marks
marker.
the end of a round. It's
Yeah.
very
Weird.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
very neat, like the way that worked. I did really enjoy that. And then you kind of lift it up and you turn a little bit. And everybody has their own little dual layer player board.
Yep.
Hey, Bobby.
And and it has like where you get your resources on there, your gold and your stone. You can increase your gold and stone production. You're also unlocking like technologies.
Okay.
And you also have like a school thing. And so like there's all different types of ways to earn points. You can like earn points by you're going to multiply your schooling by your tech level.
Yeah, which is where the crunchiness really comes in. 'cause,
Yeah,
like
it's
if
trying to
you're
figure out how to get all
if
that.
you're building a lot of walls,
Mhm.
just because that you're trying to get those abilities, the walls are going to have the red swords on them. So if you're getting red swords, that means you're going to want to focus the right track up
Yeah.
top because that gets you more victory points for red swords. To where if you're building the city
The blue
pieces on the
pieces,
map,
yeah.
they give you blue swords, so you're going to want to focus the left track up top. Like, yeah, there's real like basically if you do A, you should do B and not C, and if you do D, you should do E and not F. And there's a lot of that in the game.
Wow.
And so you got to really like decide what you're focusing on and really try to focus
just
it,
focus.
which isn't always easy because like
Right.
Bob was saying, like Bob was trying to focus technology at the beginning, but people kept taking them, so they would
Yeah.
become the most expensive every time.
literally like 3 turns in a row. because it was Chris and Dan, and they both took those technology tiles. So they're the most expensive pieces for me to buy. Like, it's like, well, I can't afford it. I don't have the gold, so I'll just do something else. And hopefully when it comes back around, I'm like, oh, wait, nope, it's there again. So it's like, yeah.
So how hard is it to then just refocus your strategy? Because if they're already going tech, wouldn't you
depends
just
on
want to
how.
go
If
something
it's early
else?
in the game, it's super easy. If
Yeah.
you're halfway through the game and
Then
you're
you're in
having to
trouble.
refocus your strategy, something has gone horribly wrong.
Right.
You know?
Which was funny though, because like when Patrick was teaching us the game, he was explaining everything, and then I was like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna do that King's Road. I was telling myself, I'm gonna focus on that King's Road. Not once. I didn't go there. Not one time did I
Kings
go
was
to
off
that
the
King's
board
Road.
the whole
It
time.
was just stayed off the
though,
board.
raced to the end of
You
that
did.
King's Road,
Mhm.
and I mean, it helps a lot early game, but then it takes so much of your resources early game that
Right.
it takes you it's very difficult to catch up late game.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. So
One of the cool things about the setup, though, is like along with that wheel thing, is that bridge on the end of the
Yeah.
King's Road. It has this like halfway finished bridge, and it has all these icons on there.
like a 3D piece you build.
Like a 3D piece out of cardboard. And then when you get to the end of the King's Road, the first thing you get is like there's a silver stack, and you look at them, and they've got like abilities and points on them, and you're going to cover up 2 of the icons, and so you're going to gain those icons you cover up. Plus, you think I have nothing. So basically, you're completing the bridge.
sure.
Yeah, there's
And it
2
looks
vertical
super
pieces,
neat.
and you're putting the
Yeah.
horizontal ones on
Wow.
top
It
of
was
it.
super cool,
Yeah.
but like, that's why I wanted to. Like, man, that seems really cool. But not once did I
Yeah,
go.
you
I
did.
built the crap out of that
He
bridge.
did build the crap out of that bridge. But,
Right on. So
yeah.
what is your overall thoughts on that game then?
It overstayed its welcome, unfortunately. That's the
Yeah,
biggest
it took-
negative.
Yeah, when we
It-
first started, he's like, "Oh, you're only get 11 turns." I'm like, "Ooh, okay, I got to really figure
Yeah,
out
turns
what I
out
wanna
you only
do."
get 11 turns in the last round or whatever. Like once the
Yeah.
last round starts.
Yeah, so
it was
it's-
a massive misinterpretation.
Yeah. It was like, oops. Yeah.
Do you think,
Oopsie.
do you think a lower player count would help that?
I don't even know if our player count would last that long.
I mean,
it
you
was
only
a
had four-
teaching
It
game.
You
was
only
a,
had 4
a teaching game. Patrick was familiar, but not like.
Yeah, he
Fluent.
played it before, but
Exactly,
he said
sure.
like he basically had to relearn how to teach the game because it had been
Correct.
so long.
Sure.
I think it could
Um,
be played in under 2 hours.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I was writing the time slot on that box, I would put 90 to 120 minutes.
Okay.
That would be my suggested time.
I believe I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm not going to do 30 minutes a player because you never really
Right.
know.
Yeah,
Right.
just cool components, cool theme.
Yeah.
The board does not need to be as big as it is. There's
Yeah.
a lot of like dead real estate on the board, but it's thematic. It looks
is.
like the
It's very
city.
busy
The
looking.
bridge
Yeah.
crosses.
It looks like a Where's
mostly
Waldo.
nice artwork. Yeah, the board itself is very Where's Waldo-y.
Yeah.
Oh, like lots of people?
Not necessarily just
They're
people, just
busy?
like the style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of the game though it looks pretty good. Yeah, it has these 2. So the tracks I was talking about up top, you focus
Yeah.
the left or the right, the red or the blue one. For some reason, the game comes with these gigantic 3D pieces you put together,
Yeah,
so that
out of
when you climb
cardboard
the tracks,
punch-outs.
you actually climb up this 3D staircase thing and everything. It looks really cool, but like the problem is, Pat said he like brought them out and he said, "Here's what these look like. We're not playing with these."
Yeah,
Like, no way.
I can go ahead and
Because
turn
like
them.
so, Bob, where Bob was sitting, if you put these gigantic, massive 3D things on the board, Bob can't see the
You couldn't
tracks
see it.
anymore.
Like, and the same thing is on the board, so you can see it. But yeah, if you have those things, depending on where you're sitting,
Sure.
you can't.
And it's like, where do you sacrifice
Right.
table presence first?
Yeah.
Because the other thing, right, is if it's out of your view, it is easy to forget,
Yeah.
or not pay as much attention.
Right. Well, it's
Sure,
one
I
of the
will
things because when you
say
step up, you're
with-
supposed to pay a certain good.
Yeah.
And that is so when you go, like, it helps you to keep from forgetting to pay that.
Sure.
And that's why. Like at my house, it wouldn't be so bad. Right? Nobody sits on that back side.
Oh, right.
Right. So you could use those and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the way we were sitting at that table.
Yeah.
With
right,
how
'cause you're all
important
the
those
way
tracks are, you'll
Yeah,
never
and they are
forget.
big
Oh,
points.
sure. Fair enough.
They're
Fair
big
enough.
points. Yeah.
But there's that science of like the zones, right?
Right.
Like your immediate zone, you are much more attentive
Sure.
to, right?
Yeah.
Where you're more likely to ignore the things that are
Correct.
farther away from
Yeah,
you.
which was why I was ignoring a lot of the
Yeah.
this town stuff that you guys are doing.
Sure,
early
because
on.
it was all the way on the other side of the board.
But yeah, but what's neat about those tracks is so there's not as there it's up and over, right? So as you do one thing, it moves you over. As you spend one good, it moves you up. Now the higher up you go, you're earning points, but then the further over you go, the
You're getting
things
a
you
point
collect.
multiplier.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's
So
pretty
it's,
cool.
so it's you can just do the one and just move all the way over and get the bits and score points, or you can just go straight up and
Right.
score the points
And,
that way.
and there's cool spaces on the track too, where you might move up and that spot has an arrow on it, so
it gives you a free
You
over
automatically
and over.
slide
yeah,
over.
So you
so
can
you want to aim for those.
you can
And it's
game your
always
movements.
good to
Up and
to
right.
be moving.
Yeah,
Usually,
yeah, of
yes.
course.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes though, there's like you get 3 bonus points here, but the arrow up is here, so you can either go and get the free up, or you can go over here and get the 3 points and then go up yourself
Sure.
with your own bits.
Go
So,
up yourself.
Yeah, go, go up
Jeez.
yourself.
Well, that sounds really
There's
cool.
there's a lot to unwrap
going
here.
on. Yeah. So,
Because initially I was like 4 hours, no thanks.
yeah.
I don't mind sitting down for a 4-hour game. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like going to somebody's house and be like, "What do you want to play?" And it's like, oh, I've got this 4-hour game, or we can play 5
Right, a bunch of
not
short games.
4-hour
Right.
games.
The really nice
So,
thing.
but if it's like, hey, come over, we're gonna play this.
Right.
That's different.
Right, you're
I know I'm
ready
going in
for
for
it.
it.
you know, you don't really think about this, but the really nice thing about games that are like, you know, so like I'm saying here, if you're focusing walls, you really need to focus the blue or the red, track.
Okay.
Right? And it feels limiting. Right, but that's a really good thing, really, because it cuts back on analysis paralysis like crazy.
Sure,
Because once you pick the route you're taking, it would be stupid. Maybe not stupid, but it would be unhelpful to start working on the other stuff as well. So the options in the game that you have to take have cut themselves in half.
Right.
You know, you should still do some of that stuff, maybe, but it's such just not a priority. Like maybe Bob wants to do technology, right? Oh, 2 people took it this round. I'll work on that other thing this round, and I'll get it next time, right? So it's actually really nice having these really limiting paths in games when you think about it as far as how it affects analysis paralysis. Because if every option was a good option in that game would be a 4-hour game.
Over time,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, there's just so much to talk about. We can't talk about Praga forever. It's pretty highly regarded
probably
from what I've
could.
heard.
It's new. Yeah.
It's new. It's pretty highly regarded, and I can see why.
I've
Yeah.
heard good things.
Yeah.
But you guys are the first that I know.
Dual layer
personally.
player boards,
Yeah.
techs.
Well, I just
I
the sound of the.
Bob was the last person to get all the text too.
didn't even get them all. I only got to level 2. It was funny because like there's a stack and you get to pull 3 off each one.
He's
and
like
then
the
look.
tech guy.
I know. And then like I'm like, oh, I got my first tech finally. Oh, well, there's only 3 left. Yeah, okay. You know, because there wasn't much. It was all picked over by that time.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
But, yeah.
Right on.
just fun.
Well, I will move on to one of my other games
Sure.
then. It's
gonna start with a C.
So yeah, it will start with a C. You are correct.
Consonant cluster.
Concluzio. I taught my
was it the
sister
first
and
one? Oh,
Troy.
I was thinking the
He
first
played 2 games.
I
with
did.
Bob.
I said, wait a minute.
It was a safe guess.
It was a
A very safe guess. Oh yeah, so we played Concluzio.
Cool.
It's kind of a show favorite, right?
Yeah.
I think Troy was lukewarm on it only because he doesn't really like deduction games.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
That's
get
still
it.
That's still, even with that caveat, that's the first time I've ever heard someone be lukewarm on that game. I
He
will say.
liked it. He had a good time.
Did he ask to
but
play it again?
No.
Okay.
That's
He's
the
a
difference.
fool.
I think Julia liked it.
Yeah, it seemed like something she would enjoy.
And like unlike Hanabi, they liked it more than Hanabi.
Yes.
Sure.
And
Me
I
too.
think also sometimes like Hanabi depends on who you're playing with. If you've got people that
Yeah.
are like
Morons.
berating you for
I was gonna say jerks, but
Okay.
obviously we've learned which side of the argument
yeah,
he's on.
yeah, clearly.
Wait a minute.
But yeah, so Concluzio is pretty straightforward deduction
Yeah,
game.
we've covered it here. Big fan, simple deduction game.
Yeah,
Yep.
I really like it. And then because that took 5 minutes to teach and play because it's that kind of game. I learned how to finally played Cthulhu Death May Die from Simon.
Yep.
And that's my other C game.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Thank you,
what I thought
Dan.
consonant cluster. CTH, right?
And so I came in the perfect situation for me. I didn't have to learn it. I played with people who have played it a ton.
Yep.
So there was, it was
No downtime for learning and looking things up.
Yeah,
You knew what's going on.
and really the game, I've played enough other games that do similar things that the teach was very simple.
Yeah.
Because it is sort of a combination of Mansions of Madness and maybe a little Arkham
Arkham
Horror,
Horror, a little bit.
Zombicide,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of stuff. I mean, everything's pretty straightforward. You can move, you can attack. If your room is empty, you can search and you can heal. And then it's like, draw this card, do this thing. Draw this card, do this thing. Monsters
Straightforward.
do this thing.
Yep. I like how
Next.
you put the cards you earn like on the sides.
Yeah,
you know?
the player boards are neat. They had, I don't know how standard
Yep.
this is, the
It's-
plastic trays that,
Yeah, it's not
that
standard.
hold your
It was a Kickstarter thing.
hold your cards. And
It's
so
it's handy.
and so you can then play when you place your markers in there, it makes them like they're dual
It
layered.
does.
It gives you the appearance of dual layered.
That's right.
But yeah, we played the scenario. It was, it's a straight co-op. We played, we won, and we were done in an hour.
Yeah, you guys played that. You guys got through that really quick. I was surprised. I don't wonder if it's one they had played before. Well, what do you think about the? Because everybody gets a madness card, right? You've got like a.
Oh, right.
Everybody's got like a little idiosyncrasy that they do.
Yeah, so I had like hypochondriac, so it wasn't the worst.
Okay.
So mine was like, if I have a wound, I take stress for each wound I have.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But if I don't have any wounds, I lose all my stress.
yeah,
Oh.
Which is
So
really
he's-
good.
He's clean.
So you
right?
gain stress by there's cards that can give you stress, or you can take stress to reroll, which is fine.
Yeah.
And then now Troy had a crazy one because Troy had one where it was like he would, if he flipped out, I forget what the name of it was, but he would go to the nearest location that had figures and
Oh,
hit
wow.
everybody for 2.
Wow.
So it could be a friendly,
yeah.
which has happened, or it could be, So we tried to keep Troy like far away,
Stay
and
away.
then Julia was codependent, so she had to pick somebody. She picked me because nobody wants to be near Troy, for multiple reasons, but also because of his ability.
Yeah.
So if she wasn't, when her madness triggered, if she wasn't in the space with me, she had to move. And then like there's other things. I think it was like stress or something.
Yeah,
just
there's
the
like
three of
OCD where like you have to like discard cards till everything is even. Like,
oh wow,
whichever,
that's cool.
Yeah, so if your health is higher than your stress, you gotta like even those out. And then if you have like too many cards on one side or the other, you gotta even those
That's
out.
rad.
Yeah,
That's
well,
really
not,
rad.
If you have to discard a bunch of cool stuff.
No, but I mean, I like the mechanic.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And,
The idea behind it.
That's
is cool.
rad.
And one of the other things I thought was really cool is so like everybody's got 3 abilities.
Yep.
But then I mean there's I don't know how many different abilities there are.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the way that like I might have
Arcane
Protector
Mastery.
and Arcane Mastery and Gate Manipulation or something.
Right.
But then Dan might have what was it called? It was Troy had the ability. It was
Brawler.
like method where he could copy. He's like a method actor.
Oh.
So he could copy the top ability of
Okay,
every
yeah,
other
yeah. person.
every other person.
Mm-hmm.
So he could use, Julia's ability every once in a while. You use my ability every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes somebody's got the same ability, but it's in a different
Location.
part of on their card, which triggers different things, on
Mm-hmm.
their player card, which triggers different things. And like any other CMON game, there's a ton of minis and a zillion characters, and these characters are
Mm-hmm.
parallels to, either real life pop culture figures
Right.
or
Yeah.
because I played as the Indiana Jones guy.
Right.
But there's like Albert Einstein in there. There's Lizzie Borden in there. you know
Yeah.
what I
There's
mean?
like a stack of characters.
It's
to
a
choose from.
ton.
Okay.
So yeah, man.
good game.
Yeah, it was really fun. I think my big drawback is that if I ever decided I wanted to buy that game, I would want to get everything,
Yeah.
and that would just
Be a lot.
well. I mean, I guess I could just go to a certain online retailer and get all the Kickstarter exclusives, which stinks.
Yes.
But
Come on, Tim.
I won't let that go. Come on. But yeah, Cthulhu Death May Die was really fun. It was very straightforward, not as fiddly as Mansions.
Right.
I've heard great things.
I feel like it's a lighter version of Mansions of Madness.
Yeah. Well, because you don't need the app, right? So it kind of like cuts that part of it out. and
Sure.
You're just going by, what scenario you pick, and it's got like a scenario action that you can do that's appropriate for that, and then you've got what Elder God are you fighting
It
against?
seems very deep madness to me,
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
just from what I've heard.
But, we pick the scenario, and then you pick the old one. So the scenario gives you your map,
Mhm.
and then the old one gives you like different cards and different things that will trigger. So you add those mythos cards and those item cards or whatever. So we were in a casino fighting off cultists, and Dagon was our great old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, liked
Cool.
it. It's good.
So
good times.
what else did you play while we were playing our game?
I also
Yeah.
played. I played a game that is
Everything he's saying is while we're playing
While we're
Praga.
yes, yes.
It is true.
In the meanwhile,
That is a sort of evergreen game that is well loved, and I'm just kind of like okay on it. It's Seven Wonders.
yeah.
I played Seven Wonders.
yeah.
I like Seven Wonders fine.
Okay.
I'm not great at it. I think I just don't play it enough to remember what like all the things you
Sure.
really should do or focus on.
Mhm.
And I was flanked by people who knew the game
Sharks.
very well.
Yeah.
And so like I did okay.
Mhm.
I had everybody wanted to play it. I sat down and played it. Like I didn't voice an opinion one way or another.
Right.
I just played and did my best.
Okay.
Like, no, this looks like fun.
I wish you guys had played It's a Wonderful World instead. I want to know what that plays like.
Oh, sure.
With a bunch of people.
with
With a
all
bunch of
them and,
people.
Yeah.
and the big box and just seeing what all's going on in that game. And it's a similar, basic idea.
Right,
so.
Yeah.
right. Well, I think Lonnie, who is playing, I don't know. I assume he's a big fan because he wanted to play it really badly,
Mhm.
or it seemed like he did.
Okay.
And again, Darcy played it also, and I don't think she liked it. I don't think she had a very good experience because the rules weren't explained to her very well,
I heard her talk about that.
and so she did not take it very well. For me, and this is just personalities, it's like I'm more of like a whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I sat down knowing how to play the game, but not knowing all the ins and outs. So I was just like, okay, I know I'm doing this right. I'm doing enough to not embarrass myself, but fine. But yeah, so that was Seven Wonders. Then we all got to play a game No, we didn't all get to play a game
You
together.
guys
we,
played. Go
we
ahead.
Split it. We split into groups. No, you should tell yours because you ruined one of your favorite games for a bunch of people.
I did.
You did the bad teacher thing.
It wasn't on purpose. So we.
I mean, when you do it constantly, can you keep claiming accident? Like, I'm just saying.
So
message.
So what happened is, I taught.
What
Evil
had
High
happened
Priest,
was.
What had happened was, I taught Evil High Priest to 3 new people, and it was going pretty okay. We were learning and we're getting through everything, and it got down towards the end, and there was only like a couple of spots to go with raids and whatnot. Darcy triggered a raid, and it was a strong one. Like it was 2 dice, ended up being powerful, and like I was stuck between like, okay, well I can sacrifice my one monster who had a 9 defense, which is really good, right, for the last 5 points, or I was gonna have to lose all my money, and I was like, I don't want to lose my guy, right? He's super strong.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just gonna lose. I sacrificed all my dudes. I lost my money. Right? Okay, fine. And then it came to my turn, and I did another raid, and it was a 3-die raid, so I had to roll 3 dice, and I rolled 15. And that was more than any, because everybody else was like, oh, just got rid of all their monsters, their defense, they had anything left. And then when I did mine, it just wiped 2 of them completely
Now, why
out.
did you do yours? You chose to do it.
I did.
You were not forced into that action.
Correct.
And you knew that because everybody else had anything, even if you rolled a low number, wouldn't that have...
No, because they still had rooms. They still had cultists, right?
Okay.
They still had people that could have sacrificed. Because like I was down, like I got hosed at the beginning. Like 3 rounds in, I lost. Like I had got unlocked 2 of my guys. Well, no, I had unlocked 2 of my guys already, right? But then a raid came through, and I didn't have much defense, so I ended up having to sacrifice everybody.
Sure.
So I was back to starting
and
scenario.
one of the people at the end who was destroyed was like basically in second place, right? Like they were in the running.
Yeah, we all 3 were in the running.
3 were in the running.
The 3 of us were super
And so
close.
Bob ruined 3 people's game experience.
To
win.
No, Crystal had a
To win
good
the
time.
game.
Crystal had a good time because it was close between us. It came down to who could get that last one first, right? Is what it came down to. But yeah, I played and then I rolled super high on the die. It wiped them completely out. And then there was 1 round left, and I took 2 turns and finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said like they were upset obviously because like but they're like, I mean, it was the right move. They're like, yeah, I get it. It was the right move. It's just unfortunate that we weren't ready for it.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So
Bob doesn't take it easy on new players, just so you know.
well, like I said, I didn't expect to roll that well. 15. It's a 3 away from maximum.
So, well, question though, then, what would have been terrible for them if you had rolled a 9?
No, they would have lost some, not all.
Okay.
Right.
I was gonna say because the odds then were that you would roll a 9.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the thing is because we were all pretty even.
Yeah.
Like, it was super close going into the last one, and there was only those 2 left. Like I was gonna get that. That was gonna be my 3rd one, and I think like 2 people had 3 and 1 person had 2. Right, so it was all super close. And then I think Troy would have lost 1, and she would have been fine. But then because I had such a high number, it wiped them both out.
Not the odds or 9, but you know what I'm saying. Like the average would
Correct,
be a 9.
Yeah.
So how terrible
3
would
dice
that
or
be?
whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, Evil High Priest is a show favorite, right?
Yeah,
We like Evil High Priest
I think
quite a bit.
I think if a 9 roll wouldn't have like terribly destroyed anyone, then I think you did nothing wrong.
Am I forgiven?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you should still maybe make sure that new players are prepared for what is about to happen, right? So on the previous turn when you sacrificed your guy, maybe you should have said, I'm going to do a raid next time, guys. You should probably be ready for this, right? Like,
well, I mean, like I had sacrificed
new
it
players.
rounds late, like earlier. I had lost my guys, and then this was like she did a raid, and then I did a raid. And
sure.
That was,
Sure. Listen, I'm not hating on you. Whatever. You're playing the game. I obviously want the new players to have a good experience. Right?
Exactly.
Especially
Yeah.
a game that you love.
I wasn't trying to like put a bad taste in their mouth over the game. I was like, and I rolled the 2 dice. Like, no, it was a 3. I was like, oh,
because at the same
I picked
time,
the other die up and I rolled it, and that was a 6-2. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
and at the same time, it's not meaningful to them if you throw the game just because they're new
Right.
and then make them. So you still got to try. I think it was the right move.
At least you weren't a stranger. You knew everybody in the room, like at the table, so they know like, oh, this guy.
Yeah, here he comes again. You want to smack us down in a new game again? Yeah. Okay.
But so Dan and I, we played a classic.
Sacred Cow.
We played a Sacred Cow. I'm gonna let you start because I've talked a lot. So
The Big.
the big. We played the
We
big.
played the Big.
I was like, what? Oh, derp. Yeah.
We played El Grande.
El Grande.
A classic game. I don't know who this is by.
I think it's Rio Grande.
That makes
Yes,
sense.
it is
It's the
Rio
Rio Grande
Grande.
artwork. So that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. So El Grande.
It's very tan.
Classic.
Very tan.
I know this kind of blew their minds when I said it, but I know that El Grande is kind of regarded as like the game that made area control a mechanism. Like people didn't start like Risk was just Risk, right? And stuff. And then when El Grande came out, they're like, oh, this is like a mechanism that you can start putting in games that's really interesting, right? And like El Grande started that and kind of exploded this area control market kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting. So you have cubes. You are playing card numbers that are like 1 to 13. You play in turn order, so everyone sees what card I played, and no one can play the same card twice, right? So if I play my 2, no one else can play a 2. The lower numbers give you more guys, but they go later in the turn, right? So the 13 gives you no guys, but you are guaranteed to go first. The reason you might want to go first is because there are 5 cards you kind of draft every round. 4 are different, and 1 is the same. The 1 card just moves the king every round. That one's always the same. The other 4 change every round. And this is like the meat of the game, right? They are so powerful because on your turn, you take the card. So like, let's say I played 13. I have no guys, but I take the card I want. That card tells you the ability I get to activate now. I get to do that ability however I want. And then I would get to place out guys if I had any left equal to the number at the bottom of that. So the weaker abilities may give you 5 guys you get to put out, right? To balance that. Because
like the king card, right? The king,
yeah, the king
moving
card,
the king lets you put 5 guys on the
5
board.
guys out, yeah, which is huge if that's what you really need right now is I got to lock down that area, right?
Right.
While you're putting guys out, you can put them in any area adjacent to the king or in this dark tower that you can't look into. And that's because at the end of every third round, you're going to lift up that tower, and majority in there is its own area now. So that's going to score based on the top 3 players in there as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just an area control game with this big, mean king moving around, and you're using these asymmetric ability things. And I can see why all these years later, people still love and play this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can totally see it. It's not like it blew my mind or anything, but like if you just want to play an area control game that doesn't have all these crazy other things going on, like, oh, well, this is Lords of Hellas is an amazing area control game, but it's not just an area control game. There's a lot going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can totally see if you want a pretty basic area control game with an interesting card system, it does have that. It's not just area control. I see why people love El Grande. I really
would
do.
say, yeah, I know what you mean by it. I guess I wouldn't say basic because I think basic oversimplifies it.
Sure.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is very straightforward.
Sure.
And there's no dice, right? It is just I've got more than you do. I've got a tie, so we score second. Like we split. We do the second place scoring for everybody that's tied. Blah blah blah. I mean, it is very straightforward.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of chomping at the bit to play it again.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't as hard to find now because the game is from 1996.
Yeah, which is too bad because it just not too long ago, I think, had that Kickstarter big box release where
Did
they released
do
like
one?
everything.
Those
I think they did.
jerks. I know they did it with like Alhambra.
Yeah,
and
I
they did it
swear
with
I saw
Alhambra
it,
and things like that. But anyways, there's a lot of things I really like. I like the idea of that. After you score the cubes that are in the tower in that little castle,
yeah. Didn't even explain this.
You got a dial that's got it's got every location on it, and you're going to assign all of your guys to one of those locations secretly. And the only place you can't put it is where the king is. That's the one rule. You
Don't
can't
mess with the king.
You can't put anything. You can't manipulate anything to do with the spot that the king's in. You can't manipulate the scoring track or the cubes.
Yep.
But so then you're like looking around, and you're like, well, if Dan's only got 2 cubes that he's going to send somewhere, but he's 1 away from taking majority in this very high scoring spot. So I've got 7 cubes. Do I send all 7 of mine there just to stop him?
Right.
Maybe.
But you you already have majority in that spot, so it's getting you nothing other than if I go there, you
right.
stop.
So there's some mind
Right.
game stuff
Yeah.
too, right? And there was time, and I think, I felt like I did pretty well. I think I would have done better, but I was so psyched out sometimes about losing a particular area because I thought like Shane or even you or Patrick.
At the end, you did have like 20 guys in one location.
I was like, I'm holding on to
this one is mine.
Well, because Shane had so many cubes.
Yeah,
that if
he
he
did.
would have allocated them, it would have given him
He
the
could've,
majority.
yeah.
And I don't know that it would have won him the game, but it would have put him ahead of me.
He knew that you knew that he knew.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So he clearly cannot put the cubes in front of you.
Exactly. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the action cards and the way the action cards work. And even more that we didn't even see all the action cards. I had a good time with it. I thought it was, there's a reason that is an evergreen game. That is a game like, now, I don't mean to poo-poo Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders does drafting very well.
Oh, sure.
And I like the stacking ability. And I like drafting games, but maybe because I do like area control, a lot. That El Grande was really neat, and I guess I see what you're saying because I think like, man, you could do a lot of cool expansions with that,
Right.
right? Which is what future games do, right? They build on this very good.
And there are
mechanic.
expansions. I have no idea what they do.
Yeah, me neither.
okay.
That's why there was a big box edition that I said I
think I
saw
have the
at
big
some
box
point.
at
Well, there's the
Yeah.
Dycentennial, so that was the
Wow.
yeah. No, yeah, because it's
The only
whatever.
thing that I felt was
200 years.
no, it can't be Dycentennial.
Centennial is 100.
Right, but it wasn't. No, it was. It's got a weird thing. Anyways,
Okay, sure.
but yes.
The only weird thing I guess in El Grande I'll say is you have like a giant cube, like the El Grande worker, right, or whatever. But like it so rarely comes into play. Like it seemed like it was going to be this really big, cool thing, but it's literally just if you have majority in an area and he's also there, he gets
points.
you 2 bonus points.
He doesn't count towards your majority.
That's it. I was expecting more from this giant cube that you start everyone says, okay, you start the game with this giant cube and 2 small cubes. Oh, dang, what's this giant cube going to do? Oh, mostly nothing.
Or 2.
And only if you already have. So if I'm
Yeah.
in another spot and I get second place majority, I don't get anything for the big guy, right? Because I don't get the first place majority. Like so,
Yeah.
that's the only negative I think to me, and that's
I agree
such a
with that.
slight negative. I just wished he was more important.
I agree with that.
So-
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you know.
I do wish it was more important. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I agree with that criticism.
And he
wholeheartedly.
actually did come in handy for me a lot because I
Yeah.
kept having him in the right spot. But still, even with that, it's like, okay, he probably got me 6
And it's hard to
points
move him.
throughout the game. Yeah, there's like just those one action
There's
cards that
maybe
move
an
him.
action card will come up that will
Yeah.
let you move your Grande
So-
worker or whatever. But yeah, so that was El Grande,
Grande.
and that was our day.
Yeah.
I had a night before we had our day.
Let's hear about your night.
So Friday night, Ben and Brandon came over, and I taught them Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Nice.
Ben had made me the insert, but
yeah.
had never
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
chance to
hadn't
play
played
it. Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'll teach you. And in true Ben fashion, he won.
Because it was his first game.
It was his first time he played. But yeah, they really liked it, though. They thought it was super
So you
thematic.
mean in the
They
last
enjoyed
turn
it.
you didn't do something to totally screw over every other player in the game just so you could win?
Wait, you
tried.
were teaching
okay.
though.
I did try.
Fair enough.
But no, yeah, he managed to eke out the win. But they both enjoyed it. And then it was getting pretty late by that point, so they wanted to do a quick one. So I taught them Roll Through the Ages.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice. I still haven't played that.
Yeah,
it
that's
sounds
fun.
really cool.
I guess Ben didn't realize that getting 5 technologies or whatever they are, developments, was
Wait.
going to end the game. So he bought like the 5 cheapest ones, and they're like, wait, you already have 5? It's over, dude. He's like, oh, it is? I was like, yeah, it's over now. So it was fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it was
That's
cool.
good. All right, I have played Roll Through the Ages.
You did. Yeah. It's
I
the
liked
thing.
it.
Yeah, it was not a bad rolling, right? Well,
Roll Through the
and
Ages.
Peg.
Roll and Peg.
I did play that one. Sorry.
Yeah.
For some
We
reason, I heard
played it here.
For some reason, I heard Roll Through the Galaxy.
Oh.
I have played Roll Through the Ages.
Yes.
Yeah. Right on.
That was it.
Okay, so let's get into news.
News.
Oh boy, we got a lot of news this week, guys.
Yeah.
Good, because I don't have that much.
Okay, so Fantasy Flight,
Fantasy Flight.
making creators of X-Men Insurrection, I believe is the name of that game. That X-Men game with the standees that
Yep.
kind of plays like Elder Sign.
Uh-huh.
They've announced a free print and play character, Domino.
Oh.
Oh,
So
okay.
you
That's
basically
lucky.
can print out her player card and and then use
I'll be here all week.
use her abilities. So for fans of that game, there is a free. They did a poll last summer, like what
would they want?
character do you want?
Okay.
And so that's kind of nice.
Sweet.
Okay.
If you like print and play, if you're cool, just printing out. I guess you could like.
Oh, do they include an STL file that you can actually print it?
I don't
That'd be
know.
super
Print
cool.
and play. That's the future.
That's right.
Future.
Amazing.
Future.
There is there's news on the Descent front while we're talking
Oh,
about
cool.
Fantasy Flight.
Okay. Yeah. This is all Tim then.
Yeah.
Not cool. It is delayed.
What?
It is
Bad-
delayed.
Bad cool.
Delayed till
This is
August. Delayed till August 6th.
Mm.
This is.
That's not too bad.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
I think they more or less thought it was going to come out more like early summer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really only kind of delayed by like 2 months.
Interesting. When did you say it's
August
still?
6th.
Okay, that's no, never mind. That's old Gen Con territory.
Old Gen
yeah,
Con territory.
new Gen Con is September like 12th or something.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
never
they threw
mind
a
then.
dart at a calendar. That's when New Gen Con happened. They're like, okay, oh no, it hit January. Redo it.
Undo.
Pull the dart down. Let's throw again.
Oh, yeah.
That hit a wall.
Control Z.
You might like this one.
Uh-huh.
The designer of Exit
Uh-huh.
teases 2 new entries.
Is one the one I mentioned last week?
What's the one you mentioned last
Lord
week?
of the Rings?
Yeah.
I mentioned that one last week.
One
I
of
don't
those-
know the second
One of those last week. The other one is a sequel to one of their early games. It is Return to the Abandoned Cabin.
Oh, okay. I never did the abandoned cabin one. Okay.
Or no, it's Return to the Abandoned Hut. The Abandoned Cabin is
The first one.
The first one.
Okay.
So it sounds like the antagonist is the same, maybe. So whoever the villain, having not played it, is
interesting. So
returning.
is the abandoned cabin like a Jason kind of thing then?
I don't know.
If there's
It's very Evil
there's a
Dead-ish.
same
I don't know. It
person?
sounded more like a mad scientist.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yes. But what's interesting, and I don't know if you said this last week, is the way that they teased it was that they just showed these black box covers.
Yeah.
And it's all in German, so you had to translate that it was like Shadows over Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh.
But yes, so there's that. Steamforged Games, Dan,
Yep.
working on a competitive card game.
Yep.
With the theme
Yep.
of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yay!
So Jeff's excited.
Mm-hmm.
Is that is that right?
Yeah. Right. Now, Z-Man Games, who used to be more of like an independent publisher, they were bought by Asmodee a while ago, a few years ago.
Yeah.
They were doing reprints of Taj Mahal, Samurai, Ra, Through the Desert, and Tigris of Euphrates.
Oh, wow.
So they've reprinted all
Those
these
classics,
games.
yeah.
These are classic games. I believe they're all Reiner Knizia, maybe.
I don't know.
Anyways, they are now ending their support of that line and have canceled their development of the Princes of. Oh, I can't even read my own handwriting. Something. But they
Princes of something. I love that.
Yeah, it's so great.
What are they prince of?
No, I can't even read that.
Where? Yeah, I can.
Florence.
Florence.
Princes
Yeah,
of
that's what it
Florence.
says, obviously.
Princes of Florence.
Yeah.
That's an F and an L.
It
L
looks
O.
like FBR.
Yeah, but that's an L-O.
Okay, yeah.
But anyways, so Princes of Florence was a game that they were designing that was kind of going to be on that in that same line. They're Euro classic, so it would be a neo classic, right? Because it's new. But they're now not doing that.
Okay.
I think because they have decided now that they are going to focus on their 4 main titles, which are Pandemic, Carcassonne, Love Letter, and Citadels.
Wonder why.
I mean,
I'm just not a big Pandemic fan.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I do really want to play Season 0 because that sounds
That
really
sounds
cool.
interesting.
Like I'm waiting
Yeah.
for you to play that some more so I can hear more things about it.
Yeah, I know. It's just time commitment.
But no spoilers.
No, it's tough.
And we've done so far is the tutorial because it's fun.
So-
we haven't started the stressful part yet.
So I will say that if you guys are fans of any of those games or you have any interest in those games right now, go to your game store and
Get
buy
them
them.
now before the price
Buy them
goes.
while they're retail
Yeah.
because these things will get stupid expensive. I remember before Ra was reprinted, it was super expensive on the secondary market, like trying to buy it anywhere. Same thing with like Tigris and Euphrates.
And Tigris Euphrates is a pretty good game too.
Right?
So check that one out.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
I
I've
like
heard, that's what
Ra.
I've heard. I haven't played it, but I've heard it's pretty good.
So yeah, the Euro line is kind of going away. They're not going to support it anymore.
I don't mean to do this because it's a little annoying, but I wanted to jump back in time slightly just
Let's do
because I feel like a lot of people are going to be interested in that Sonic game. So I just wanted to talk slightly about Steamforged Games. We've talked about them before, guys. They make Dark Souls. They make Horizon Zero Dawn. They make a lot of video game stuff. So they're
And
making
they've got
Sonic.
the Monster Hunter.
Yep,
game
they're doing the
coming
Monster
soon.
Hunter one. They do a lot of video game stuff. So the thing I'll tell you about this, do your own research stuff because Sonic card game sounds really interesting. I know a lot of you are
Competitive
like,
card game
yeah,
is what they
I know
call
a lot
it.
of people are like,
Ooh.
this sounds good. So check them out. They are usually amazing at hitting the theme of the game. Like I have almost zero doubt this is going to feel like Sonic. That is what they do. The problem with
All these rings on the
Steamforged,
table.
the problem with Steamforged is they put so much into the theme that sometimes the mechanics are a little lacking. The game could have been fleshed out more. Like they're usually not mind-blowing games. They're fun if you're into the theme, but they're not mind-blowing games. So I think if you're into Sonic, check it out. I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit because I think that's where you're at.
I agree with your statement as in do your research too, right?
Of course.
Really look at it
Yeah.
and I mean, or it's fine too. If you want to blind buy a Sonic game because you love the Sonic IP,
Right.
great.
Sure.
But buyer beware, right?
Is it like you said? It's card games. So
Exactly.
It shouldn't
So
be
I'm wondering their
crazy
price and
expensive.
everything too.
Yeah.
Like, are they just gonna have a bunch
'Cause-
of miniatures in there?
Yeah,
it's
just
Right.
'cause
Because
it's Steamforged, yeah,
has some great miniatures
Yeah. Amazing,
in
yeah.
their
Mhm.
games, and I think that's where they make a lot of sales,
yeah, sure.
for lack of a better.
Yeah,
right?
I've always said, I
bread and
honestly,
butter.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Dark Souls fan, it's worth buying the board game just to collect all the miniatures. They're stunning.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Especially if you're good at
Um,
painting and you can make them-
Exactly. Just pay $100 for this board game and have these amazing painted miniatures up on your wall.
Well, you've got to paint.
You got to pay him yourself.
That's what I mean. If you're good at painting, going off of his yeah. In all fairness, though, Titanite Demon in the video game, gray. So you don't have to pay.
I'll buy that one.
Yeah, I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah.
But so I just want to talk about that Sonic thing a little bit because I know a lot of people are probably like, take my money.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Game.
Well, I mean, people were like that with Dark Souls and
Sure. Yeah.
and will be with Monster Hunter, right?
Probably. That one's not as big, I think, as the other ones, but
Sure.
like people do love it. So we'll see.
Right on.
Okay, a couple little things. Quick mention here, Forgotten Waters. Talked about that before. I
Yep.
played it. Fantastic story game where you're cooperative pirates and it's app driven with voiceovers in the app and you're moving
wanna
around on
try
a
that.
board and it's worker placement on Arabian Night style where you're like flipping through a book and the books are the worker placement pages and stuff. I mean, flipping through a
Locations,
book,
yep.
Arabian Night style, but not that.
Like
Anyway, it has a DLC, like a digital DLC coming out that you can get that adds a new scenario to the app. And with the new scenario, it's adding. I want to say it was like 100 new events that like get mixed into the old scenarios, right? So like you'll start running into new events again
Nice.
as you're playing through
That's
these old
good.
scenarios. Always nice when they upgrade these digital things like, Journeys Through Middle Earth, right? Eventually you're going to see all these side quests you can go
Right.
on and stuff. So when they just say, here's 30 new side quests to drop in there, that's huge for people to play
Yeah.
that game, right? So this is really nice to see Forgotten Waters, Plaid Hat Games,
Well done.
dropping that in there. And then I saw Clank in Space has a expansion
Expansion
coming out that
coming.
excites me because I have Clank in Space over Clank, and I think the thing that Clank has always had over Clank in Space is better expansions.
Yeah.
I just think
Just more for
I
it.
like the look and theme of Clank in Space more, but Clank in Space but normal Clank has so much that you can get for that game that enhances
Clank in
it.
Space has a modular board, which is pretty
I
rad.
know, it's
right?
so cool. But anyway, this one adds 6 modular expansions that you can add in. It's called Pulsarcade. But so it says you can ransack vaults and sell the stuff that you steal to the black market. You can research news like science and techs, including the ability to clone yourself. Bob likes that idea.
I do like that idea.
You can entertain in like a Coliseum type fighting thing, I guess, called the Danger Theater, or you can
Danger Theater.
Yeah, or you can partake in like races where you earn money and stuff for winning races. How the heck is all that going to fit in Clank in Space? I have no
like
idea.
That evil overlord on the ship isn't going to know that you're.
Yeah, you're doing it for him, I guess, right? Like for the
okay.
racing and the entertaining and stuff. I guess you're doing it to like earn his favor or something. I think is what it's saying. But I just don't get like it has to add a new board that's a racetrack, right? Like how are you racing
I don't
in that
know,
game?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know how any of this is being implemented. But 6 modular expansions.
I mean, the thing is that I haven't played anything Clank that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are they going to do that? That sounds crazy.
You're like, oh, they'll do it.
Yeah, it'll
Figure it
probably be
out.
fine.
Sure.
What? Don't do any research. Blind buy.
From what I was saying about earlier, ignore me.
Right.
But so that's if you like Clank in Space,
It applies
We're
when it
catching
applies.
up,
Right.
expansion wise.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's really neat. And you're right, because OG Clank has
Got a lot
better.
more, yeah.
Just so
And
many.
more
the water
expansions
one, the
and
mummy
stuff.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everything
the
else.
expansions that just change the game fundamentally.
Right. Whole new
Yeah,
board.
like, yeah.
Here's a new mechanic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Any news? Any other news then?
No, I'm good.
Okay. No, let's get into crowdfunding then.
Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding.
I'm talking about a really obvious one, so we might be a crossover
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
for it.
I'm talking about Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's what
that's a good
that's
one.
what I
Yeah.
had. So
I just Robinson Crusoe by Portal Games has its collector's edition on GameFound right now. It has 16 days left. It is of course funded by like a jillion percent. It's a 1 to 4 player cooperative game. It's going for there's a big range here, so it's hard to not because you can get like just one of the expansions for $30 if that's all you need, right? But the base things you're going to be getting is either $100.15 or the $194.40. The $100 one is basically if you already own the game, you can get the upgrade pack, and the $194 one is kind of the all-in package thing.
what an upgrade pack.
I know.
This isn't like we're just going to give you some new cards.
Yeah, no, tell me about it. This is I had a long talk with Catherine today about how it seems like a waste for us to not get the upgrade pack. We already own Robinson Crusoe, so basically we're getting all this stuff for half off.
Right.
It just seems stupid for us to not do it. So, but yeah, anyway, shooting for February of next year, 2022, shipping. And I mean, so let's see. It adds a 3D modular camp so that you actually see everything you're doing, right? When you build the palisades, when you build your roof, you're literally
Looking at the
building
pictures.
this 3D camp so you have visual
they're amazing.
connection of what your camp is right now, right? Crazy cool. There's a competitive scenario now where you're all trying to build the best martial arts dojo. How's that going to work in that game? I have no idea.
Sorry, I don't have time to build a roof. I know it may rain.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
Instead, I'm working on my forms.
It must be a completely different game with different cards and everything, just
be.
using the system,
It's
the
gotta
worker
be.
placement system, right? Like it must just had a whole new board and a whole new everything, because I don't know what that means.
It is crazy.
There's now a volcano dice tower they added that looks really cool, where now you roll your dice by dropping them in a volcano. It's not Pompeii's volcano, but it's a volcano.
Yeah, they don't come back out in that one.
Yeah, what's weird though is they add like a smoke effect.
No, it does that.
What?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
Of
I was
course
like, what?
not. It's got
I
a
was like,
built-in
now
fog
I'm really
machine.
intrigued.
It has a horror scenario where you're all people in a mental hospital trying to like figure out what's going on because there's something fishy going on here and like escape
Shutter
or
Island.
something.
Yeah.
Speaking of, there are horror dice that you can get as a little add-on that add wooden dice with like horror versions of all the symbols for when you're playing the horror scenario.
You know, it's funny though because I feel like just playing Robinson Crusoe is a horror scenario. Because you gonna die.
Depends on which
Yeah.
one you
It's
build
terrible.
or play. I mean.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's really hard.
It is really hard.
There's a deck of inventions that just add a new type of card, how you're like building things out there, right?
Sure.
A new deck of those kind of things. Obviously, 3D models for all of your workers now, which I guess how it works is it just gets rid of the stacking now, right?
Oh, okay.
So
'cause
you
I was gonna
put
say
you put
stack the
both
workers.
on a location if you're doing that, or you put one there and one there. That's what it looks like from me
Okay.
reading it.
Because
So-
yeah, that would, could mess with the effect.
Exactly, because the whole point of Robinson Crusoe is if you're going to spend all day doing one task, you stack both your workers on top of each other, and you're guaranteed to complete it. You can split your day into 12-hour shifts and do 2 tasks, but now you roll dice and see if you complete them, right?
Right.
So with minis, I was like, how's this going to work? It looks like you just send both
You
minis
just
to a
send both
location.
to a
So
location, sure.
not as cool, like just mechanic-wise, but minis. So, upgraded tokens, of course, you can get. So the wood looks like beautiful wood. The bananas look like a bundle of
The
bananas.
schnozberries.
Awesome.
Schnozberries.
There's a playmat, which I will have to get if I wind up getting this. I just love playmats. Having a playmat for this game will be nice. And then there's one other thing, but I can't read it.
Oh,
Tim's scenario here. It says like mini expansion, but I don't know. Car mini expansion. I can't read it. Sorry, guys. But there's something else there.
Yeah, and this is on Game Found.
Correct.
Not
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
this is GameFound, not Kickstarter. But if you already own Robinson Crusoe, I think this is a steal, guys. If you like that game, I mean, $100 for everything it's talking about here is amazing. If you don't own Robinson Crusoe, this is an investment for a very difficult game. So definitely do research and watch some playthroughs and stuff of this game.
It is
because this
one
is
of
rough.
the hardest co-ops next to like Ghost Stories that I've
I
ever
think it's
played.
harder than Ghost Stories, but I've also played it way more than Ghost Stories,
Sure.
so I've seen everything it has to offer, and it has
I don't know.
beaten me down.
I've seen
So-
people win Robinson Crusoe where I've never
That's
seen
true.
anyone win
I've
Ghost
won
Stories.
Robinson Crusoe, so I can. You know what? Your argument is very valid.
I don't love this game, but I have not played it enough.
Sure.
So I don't like dislike it so much that I would be like, I'm not gonna play Robinson Crusoe. Are
Sure.
you crazy? I would play like if you were like today, hey Tim, we're playing Robinson Crusoe.
Okay,
like,
Tim,
fine, let's
we're
play
playing
it.
Robinson Crusoe.
Okay, I'm gonna call my wife. I'm gonna get that
That's
divorce.
not happening. You know it.
But you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't turn down playing it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
avoid playing it. But I also wouldn't seek it out. This has so much stuff that it's like, oh, maybe I'm questioning my
the
life
amount
decisions.
of just different scenarios and stuff it adds in this, because like I just listed those 2 scenarios, right? But one of the add-ons you get is a book that just adds like 20 scenarios. Like there's just so much in this game now.
And-
I have played this game 10 times or something. I've played the same scenario every time because I still don't feel like I've mastered this
it.
first
Sure, yeah,
scenario.
And,
You know?
And this is Portal Games. Portal Games makes a lot of really good games. And it's not just that they're using GameFound. It's like they're actually teaming up with Awakened Realms
Oh yeah.
for the miniatures, right? So this is like a real meshing, you know,
Yeah.
a collision of 2 worlds that that are both really solid game companies that I have very good experiences with
Right.
both of their, you know, their games.
Yeah.
I mean, Robinson Crusoe is a proven product.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not doing anything that's going to change the mechanics
Exactly.
of the game.
It's one of those things where it's really well regarded, but only if you are into exactly what it's offering, which is a very difficult cooperative worker placement game.
And
You
I
have
do
to
like
be really into that.
I do like cooperative. Like I love really hard co-ops.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. So that's why I think I need to play it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, whoa, it's beautiful. That camp
That camp looks
mini.
amazing.
I'm looking
looks-
forward to the big box with the insert and everything, because the hardest thing about Robinson Crusoe is setup. It takes
sure.
a long
It
time to
does.
set up and separate the decks and get everything right. And that's the reason it doesn't get played as often. And I don't know if the insert does anything to help that, but I know it comes with a nice insert
Sure.
in the collector's box that holds everything.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm looking forward to seeing if that helps.
Right on.
you know?
Right
But that's
on.
me. Robinson Crusoe, guys. Check it out.
Sweet. Go ahead, Tim.
No, Robinson Crusoe.
I
Was
was
mine.
just, yeah.
That's why I jumped in on it. 'Cause
I see. I was just going to re-mention the Built for War. It's the building the
Oh.
tanks. Yeah, I still got
Yep.
a week or so left on that. Drafting tiles, building your tanks, World War II. It looks completing objectives. I like the fact that you can build a fast tank and try to just rush objectives, but then someone can just sit back there with heavy thing, and just like bombard you and try to blow you up before you can get there.
I love it.
Yeah, I think this thing was super cool. So
Yeah.
it's already funded, so it's safe.
I guess I will real quick just say that as we're shooting this, night market's got 5 days, so probably like 2 days left when this video comes out. But man, it does some neat things. It's got some really neat mechanics with set collection and worker placement. And so night market, Talon Strike Studios, definitely worth a look. I think it's a good value. In my limited experience with their games, I've had good experiences.
Yep.
Right?
This is a very interesting game. Yeah. Your worker placement, but also like puzzle solving at
Yeah.
the same time. Like really interesting how like where you place your workers matters, right? So it's not just, okay, well, I need this food, so I'll put it there. It's like, okay, I need that food, but if I put it there, it procs with these other workers, which gives me a bonus. Like it's really interesting how
It's
that
really
all plays
puzzly.
out.
Yeah. I like it. And we just played a prototype, but I'm really excited to see. I know I say this a lot, but I'm excited to see
Of
what the
course.
final components look like, because when you've really got it all together and you're like, whoa, right? Like Shadow Network.
Exactly.
Like I'm excited to see what
Those final bits.
I know. Dan
Can't
doesn't
wait.
love Shadow Network
I know.
Yeah.
that much, but
Can we stop talking about that?
I hate it
God,
so much.
I made it number 10 for a reason, guys. I never want to talk about it again.
But yeah, so yeah, it's one that we've had a chance to play, and I liked it. So
Yep.
All right, so now we're gonna do our topic.
So we have a short little topic we just want to talk about. Get our opinions out there and listen to your guys' opinions in the comment section below. So what are we going to talk about?
What's your ideal game length? 5 minutes. That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I've been Tim. No. Yeah. So for a game, and I know that it will vary depending on the game.
Sure.
But what is your ideal game length for a game?
Mine's going to be pretty long, honestly. I haven't put any thought in this really. We just decided let's talk about a topic and let's, get our thoughts out there. So just like off the top of my head and stuff, it's going to be pretty long for me. Like I'm talking about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's
I don't feel like that's pretty
That's
long.
not, that's not long. I thought you were going to say like
I
3
know,
to 4
like
hours.
like
Like,
6
Twilight
hours.
Imperium.
No, the thing is, though, it's funny because I think ideal to me is around like that 2 hour mark, but my favorite games are way longer than that.
Sure.
So it's really interesting how that plays out, right? So how does that impact it, right? I don't know. Should I say that my favorite games are 4 hours long? Just because my favorite games are 4 hours long?
I mean,
I don't know.
Bob's got the same problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if
I
he
do like the
says
longer.
2 hours, it's like, well,
Yeah, he plays Risk over weeks.
Well,
it's called War Risk.
Oh, sorry,
Allies.
Axis and Allies.
Yeah.
Yes. How dare I?
Yeah. So it depends on the game.
Of
I'm-
course,
I'm-
it depends on the game.
Right.
100%. If I'm playing, I don't know. I don't want to play a deduction game for 5 hours probably because that is draining on your brain.
Yeah.
Right? To where, a political game where you're just, the whole thing is backstabbing and dealing. You want a lot of time to let everything sink in and to build those allies and stab people in the back. And, you need that time. So, yeah, it really depends.
So I'll put out. Well, let's hear Bob's first, and then I will put out 2 scenarios.
Okay.
I would say probably an hour to an hour and a half, just because that would allow me to play more games.
Sure.
It's long enough to where you can kind of get into the game, but it's not too long to where like, okay, this is the game we're
This is
playing.
the only thing, right?
Sure.
So there's my 2 scenarios.
Yep.
My 2 scenarios are: you're in a bubble, and you've got the whole day to knock something out, right? So would you use? And then the other scenario is you're at a game day, or or a gathering,
Convention, whatever, yeah.
and are you going to play as many games as you can, or are you going to just play that one long game?
I would almost always play the one long game.
See, in a bubble, I would take the long game. In a
Yes.
game day, I'm going to play as many games as I can.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree
In
with
a
that.
game day, if I can play 15 games, I would be
That's a lot of
so
games.
excited.
My brain would be mush.
I'd be so excited. Well, when we did that, the Mechanics Rundown Con, we played a lot of games that day.
Yeah, and that's true. I'm just saying, though, and I loved it, had a great time. But if you had instead said, we're going to play Twilight Imperium today, I would have been the happiest person on
Well,
the
that's
planet.
your
Yeah, and it
favorite
kind of depends on the game. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, yeah, I love Axis and Allies. I love Anachrony. Those blow out my hour and a half time.
Right, which is why I don't think you can say that the longest time, like in my scenario, is your favorite time, because it's only your favorite time when you're playing a game
when
you
it's
love.
that game,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, so that's why I cut that kind of meet in the middle and say a 2-hour game, which
I think
is
that's
honestly
really fair.
most games nowadays are like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It seems
Sure.
just because that's what worker placement lends itself to, and like area control lends itself to, is those kind of time frames, and those are very popular mechanics.
I guess
right now.
I feel like an hour and a half is my sweet spot.
I think most people's sweet spot.
After an hour and a half, if it is not Twilight Imperium or like a Dune, you know what I mean, or something, even Game of Thrones,
Of course.
which can run a little bit longer. But man, if you can get a Game of Thrones game in an hour and a half, I'm so excited. Because I love that game and I love playing it, but it can run long sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's my sweet spot, right? But then there's games like if I'm playing Villainous for an hour and a half, I'm angry.
That's
if I'm playing
literally
Space Base for an hour and a half, I'm angry.
These are literally the two examples I'm about to bring
Right.
up, right? 'Cause it matters so much on mechanics.
Correct.
Right? Like, you don't want a worker placement game, usually, to play in 30 minutes or something, right? Because you're like, what's the point of this building up and resource gathering, right? If you're doing it so fast. There are amazing games that do that, but they're few and far between, right? To where if you're playing something like Villainous, that game needs to play in like 45 minutes max.
Yes,
You know,
max.
like, and so when that game starts taking 2 hours, you're like, what is this game trying to do? Like,
Right.
it's like this mismatched mechanic thing that
Sure.
makes an ugly smelling stew, you know? And Space Base, I like Space Base a lot. I've kind of got wore out on it because I played it so much, and because I think it overstays its welcome. Space Base, for how simple it is, shouldn't play in an hour and a half and stuff, right? Like, for
Should be
what
done
you're
in
I
an
think
doing.
that's
hour.
more because people are focusing on, how much money can I make in a turn, as opposed to let me try to start getting victory points.
Sure. I'm not arguing that, and it is usually the players that elongate the time, right? But
Players
certain
can
games
dictate
but certain
the
games lend
length of the game
themselves
length.
to be taken advantage that way, right? Like, Space Base is so easy. That, I mean, it's an engine building game, right? So you want to get your engine built. You could win way earlier than you usually do, but you want to have a satisfying engine in that game, and it takes a while to get that satisfying engine going. I almost never win Space Base, but at the end of the game, I got the coolest engine ever. Things are procking, things are happening, and I have 30 points or something, or 25 points, and everyone else has 45.
You've got no points, but you know
Yeah.
what? Your engine is so much more fun to run.
Exactly, and so it just depends on what people are interested in,
Sure.
right? When I play an engine building game, I want to build a really fun engine,
And then
Right.
you want to use it.
and then you want to use it, yeah, like Mechanica.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's rough. Time limit is such a weird, up in the air thing to talk about because it's so dependent on how much you like the game. And
So
what
Mechanica,
mechanics.
for example, a game you felt like ended way too soon. If it's going to be like that, and that's always the way it is, I feel like that game should only take an hour.
If it's going to end soon.
Yeah, I don't want to play 2 hours and
To have
feel
it
like
end
I
abruptly.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
sure.
to feel like I
Yeah.
almost.
That would be
That
so
would-
disappointing.
that would be
Wouldn't that be really frustrating? I would be
Yeah.
really
It'd be like
frustrated.
playing like Evil High Priest for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and all of a sudden you just lose everything in the last round and you have no chance of winning at all. That would suck.
Wow.
Ugh, that'd be really, if that happened. That'd be so
Yeah, that'd
horrible.
leave a really bad taste in your mouth.
Or everybody else's mouth, but
I'm
Bob's.
sorry. I'm a little sorry.
I'm sorry that I have to be blamed for it.
That's right.
But I do think that while ideal game length is conditional, right, on the game and things like that, there are times though where we're at a game day thing and somebody's like, "Oh, do you want to play this?" And I'm like, "Well, how long is it?" And it's like, "Well, that's a 2-hour game." I'm like, maybe, but I'm
Right.
gonna see if there's like if I can play 2 1-hour games, you
Yeah.
know what I
Right.
mean, or 2, you
Yeah,
know,
You can knock out Doom Imperium in like an hour. Like, yeah, I'd rather play that and like something else. That's
Sure.
fast than.
right, right. And I can play if you have help setting up, I could play a 4-player Cthulhu Wars game in an hour. Like even with
Not
teaching.
counting setup and breakdown.
If everybody's helping, it goes fast.
That is true.
Sure.
But even with teaching, I can knock out one of my all-time favorite games very quickly. I can play Concordia in an hour and a half, and some of that is also like I will sometimes avoid larger player counts to
People
keep,
known for analysis paralysis.
just to keep game length down.
Sure.
Right?
I
mean,
think
there's ways to kind of
I think it's funny
mess
that
with
for
that.
me, I almost think a game has to take like at least an hour or I won't play it. right? Because even when you think about it, even the shorter games, like I love Concluzio, right? That game can play in 10 minutes. I'll play it 6 times in a row.
So you play it for an hour.
That's what I'm saying. So 10 minutes is not long enough for me to enjoy this game.
That's
I want more and more. And then when I get to that hour and a half mark, that normal time, every time we play just one at my house, we pull out just one and we play for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's just...
It's kind of funny that sometimes that time doesn't really occur to you because Sarah will be like, I don't want to watch a movie. It's too long. Let's watch 6 episodes of this hour long. Like, wait a minute. You don't want to watch a movie because it was too long, but we'll watch 6 episodes of an hour long. Sure. Same thing with the games. Like you can play this one game or you play the same game 8 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so it's almost weird. I hate short games almost. I want to spend this time playing these games, right? It's interesting. Which maybe that's why I love long games so much. You really get into that, you get into that world and you get into that building, So, I don't know.
I think for me it's just that in my situation with kids, is time is sometimes at a premium. So I need to maximize. I feel like I've got to maximize that time. That is pressure I put on myself.
Right.
That is internally generated, right? That's not anybody else's problem but my own. But I feel like, okay, guys, I'm here to play games. I got to get in as many as I can because I'm here today, and I'm not going to be here.
And I think, too, obviously, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth and everything, but, I think that's a part of it, too, to where I'm in this hobby and I play games for the social part of it. So if I play 6-hour-long games with Bob, or if I play one 6-hour game with Bob, I'm playing with Bob for 6 hours.
Right.
We're having the
And he's had
exact
enough
same.
of me.
Yeah, we're having the exact same social. We can talk during these games and everything. So it just doesn't matter to me.
And you didn't even go the direction I thought you were going to go, because I was going to say I will play Blood on the Clock Tower for 2.5 hours and not bat an eye.
Exactly.
Right? Or not necessarily werewolf, but like a social deduction game, right? Where we're going around and we're, a thing like that, right? Or like you said with Concluzio, I would play Growl. I could play Growl all night.
Sure.
Just because the way it changes and the dynamics of that game, right? The social aspect of it.
Sure. I guess I
guess with you saying, if we're going to game night at Bob's
and
it's the 3 of us and we're going to be at Bob's all night. Yes. We're playing one game. We are probably getting the same or a similar experience that we would get if we played 3 different games, right? In that one long game.
I guess what I was just wondering, Tim, this is a sit down on the red couch moment here, is do you think you just love playing games so much that that's what you care about more? You like playing with people, sure. You're not antisocial. You love playing with people, but you want to play 10 games with people because you love playing games. Do you think that that's what matters to you?
I think.
You know what I'm saying?
So in a game day situation where there's multiple people,
that's obviously totally rough. Yeah.
I try to play different games with different people.
Yeah, that was a big thing at Julie's and
Julia.
At Julia and Patrick's yesterday was you call it JulieCon. So
JuliaCon.
Oh, you do call it JulieCon. I always thought you called it JulieCon. I've only
we're
heard
just
it said a couple times.
Yeah.
But so there, that's the whole thing is there's these people that don't know each other. So people were literally walking around saying, "Hey, I haven't played a game with you yet. I haven't played." So sure, at that moment, it makes sense that you're trying to play different games because you're trying to meet all these different groups and get to know each other. Once everyone knows each other really well, that won't happen.
It doesn't matter as much,
right?
But so I think some of it is a social aspect, like you're talking about, where it's I'm experiencing games with this people, whether it's one game or whether it's 10 games. So for me, being a social person is it can be I could sit and play this 6-hour game with you guys, or I could play a bunch of games with other people that I also like, but I'm getting different people and different experiences in different games.
And a lot of those times at cons, you don't see those people all the time.
Yeah, and that's why the con thing obviously throws a huge wrench.
So, everything is all variable,
Topsy-turvy,
right? Because
timey-wimey.
Like you, I love Twilight Imperium, right? I will play a 3-hour, 8-player Cthulhu Wars game. I will play Axis and Allies with Bob, and it will go long. It won't go long. He'll beat me quickly.
Game.
He'll beat me in 2 turns.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because now it is on.
I do owe you
record.
A game of Axis and Allies. I do. I own it, and I'm happy to do it.
Sweet.
But so there's those are always extenuating circumstances, right? That can manipulate things. But I'm dying to play Dune, but I need to. I guess for me,
don't even bring it up.
I know.
I'm so mad.
He had to sit for 3 hours. That box right here by his head.
I've been trying for 3 weeks to get this game to the table. I'm just buying it.
The thing is,
I'll force my own. I'll
you gotta
force
have
my own
a bunch of
family to
people.
play it.
The thing is to play a game like that, I need to know. It needs to be, hey, we're coming over and we're playing this.
Of course.
Yeah, that's one to get prepared for.
I don't
tend to be my favorite games, and I don't know why.
I don't like to have people over. Oh, what do you want to play? And then pull out the monster.
Sure.
right?
Yeah, sure.
No offense, Patrick.
In that situation, I would just rather, if I'm learning game, and I love learning games, right? The more new games we can play, awesome.
Right. Expand your repertoire a little bit.
Right. Yeah, fill some gaps like El Grande, right? Like getting to fill that gap, even if.
In all fairness, Dune is a gap for me.
It's a gap for everyone here.
What do you mean? You've played it?
No, I have Rex. I've never played my copy of Dune.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yes.
So we're gonna wrap up, and
That's even more annoying to me, but that's fine.
But yeah, so I mean, for that game, those kind of games, even like Blood on the Clock Tower, right?
Yeah.
You want some time to prepare because you're gonna host it, right?
Of course, and that's why I'm saying I don't know why those tend to be my favorite games. Nemesis, Twilight Imperium, Dune, which I haven't played yet, but again, like Blood on the Clock Tower, I've watched so many hours of this game.
Right.
And Blood on the Clock Tower, these are all games that you basically say a week ahead of time, hey guys, do you think we can get together Sunday and play this kind of thing, right? I don't know why those are my favorite games.
Sure.
I really have no idea.
And so Nemesis, last time I played Nemesis was like when I had the real bad experience. And it was a kind of a, what do you want to play? Pull it off the shelf.
Oh, really?
But the difference, the reason I kind of made an exception to that rule was because I wanted to play a game with Patrick and Julia. They hadn't played it. We knew how to play it. I mean, we had to reference some rules, but we knew how to. We knew
There's
the
a
gist.
lot going on.
We knew the gist and could kind of teach it to them. So we were kind of doing them a favor by trying to
teach them how to play.
So they didn't try to have to learn it out of the box.
What did they think of it, by the way?
I don't know.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was just wondering. The
They
fact
weren't
that
blown
the two
away.
people teaching it had negative experiences doesn't bode well for the people
it was
learning
just the one
it.
mechanic with the health changing, and
Of
that was a
course.
brutal playthrough.
Yeah, very unlucky.
It was one of the worst
It was
case
just
scenarios,
rough.
right?
Yeah.
That could have happened. But I mean, but normally I would go, nah, I'm not going to do that. And it's not any dig on Nemesis. It's more that is going to be a 3-hour experience.
Yeah, considering the time we had, the people that were there. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
everything
I
into
would rather play
consideration.
two other
I
games.
just also think almost all those games, Twilight Imperium probably in the least, but Nemesis, Dune, Blood on the Clock Tower are games that part of the reason you'd want to say let's get together next Sunday is because you build a mood for those games,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
it's not just a pull off the shelf and have fun. Like you are setting up the scene. Your people are like you're messing them ahead of time, being like, okay, the Atreides are this, or like, oh, in Nemesis, this is what's happening. You're building this mood. I feel in
Yeah.
those games that
If you're doing it right.
drastic-
If you're doing it right, you
exactly,
are,
that
yes.
drastically increase those games. I think.
And that is, again, like we are the type of gamers that we also enjoy and experience.
Yeah.
Some people don't want that. Some
Yeah.
people just, I want to sit down, I want to play my worker placement, and I want to play it in a way that you can't interfere with what I'm doing. And that's fine too. Like you can have your game that does that.
And eat it too.
And I will play that game, but I'm also going to want to play the ones where it's like, yes, like, because some people
get
don't
into it.
Some people don't care about theme, but man, when we get like a good theme going,
Yeah.
have you played Escape from Aliens in Outer Space?
No, you've talked about it a lot.
It's fun.
You will love that game.
Yeah.
You will love that game because it is
Yeah,
it is-
terrifying.
It's terrifying. And it is again like setting the mood in the theme, but it plays in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there's just not enough time. You're screwed. You're getting chased.
There's a reason why in our Blood on the Clock Tower playthrough we've uploaded, I edited rain and thunder into the background,
sure.
and like when I join them at night, I'm like, "Hello, Tim. What would you like
Yeah.
to do?"
It's always really
like,
creepy.
You're
Yeah.
building that, especially because I have a really high quality mic, so I can only imagine how crisp that like, "Hello, Tim."
And also, what's happening? Let me put you in my scenario. Is it's late at night for me.
Silence. Yeah.
There's complete silence, and I'm playing because I want to play, but I usually go to bed early because I get up early for work, and we're usually playing on Sunday nights, which is fine.
I just don't know when else you'd even be available.
And,
So-
and I am playing because I want to. I'm not being forced to. So I want to be very clear. I'm choosing to be there, but I'm like usually like eyes closed, like just okay. I'm just gonna wait for, and then it's all of a sudden, hello, Tim.
So thematic.
But
yeah.
no, it's great. And but you do a very good job of creating an experience when you run that game. You did the same thing when we played Wolves of Mercia.
Oh,
for the
sure.
first time,
For
right?
the recording.
And it's like, yes. I mean, I want. It probably even colored my experience more for the positive, right?
I could see it.
Just
yeah.
having a very good, and I could see some people going, I don't care.
Sure.
And I get that too. But just having the
Ambiance.
the ambiance, and then also everybody's buying in to the game. Everybody's going to be a very active participant because you're now into it, right? You get into the scenario.
Speaking of, any fans out there of Wolves of Mercy, I know it's not super well known, but check out our video if you don't know. It's a social deduction game that plays, probably
It's
hour
due
and a
for
half.
a re-review.
Yeah, it is due for a re-review. But anyway, I wanted to say on our Facebook, in our files, you can download the audio file he's talking about. Anyone can use it from our Facebook. So it's just me with slightly edited sound, like voice and music,
Lots of fart noises, banjos,
going through the rules and stuff. So that you can play without a moderator, right? Because that's one of the coolest things about the game is every roll gets woken up every night, so that you don't know which rolls are in play, which means there doesn't have to be a moderator. You just get a recording, and then the moderator can play as well. It's very nice. Yep. But yeah, so check that out if you like that game. If you haven't played the game, please check out our video if you like social deduction games. It is one of the best social deduction games ever made, and I feel like not enough people know about this.
It's my favorite version of that kind of werewolf.
It's my favorite version about that kind of werewolf too. Blood on the Clock Tower I like more, but it's a different beast.
It's a different, no pun intended.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Pun intended.
There's too many different things, and Blood on the Clock Tower is like a 2-hour game where.
I mean, Wolves of Mercia is like an hour and a half depending on who wins. But that's only because, again, you go through the recording every night.
Yeah.
And the recording is like 8 or 9 minutes long. So
unless you have a moderator, then it goes faster.
Sure, exactly. Again, the recording is a little slower because it's dramatized,
and
right?
you're trying to give people time.
And
to do the things.
I purposely have it to where all the fast rolls get 5 seconds, and all the slow rolls get 10 seconds in between the rolls waking up and everything, right? But so you think about it, every night. You wait 9 minutes doing nothing, and then during the day, so even if the game lasts 5 nights, so if you make it all 5 nights, that's 50 minutes of just the night phase, not the day phase. Now it never goes to the 5th day, but still, yeah.
Rarely, yeah.
Enough on Wolves of Mercia, though. Great game.
Yeah, fantastic game.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, I think game length. I really think we're all kind of in the same spot with like a few
hour and a half ish,
a few different seasonings,
depending on what's going on.
What the game is, right? Because for Dan would be an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'd be like an hour and a half, and you're like right at an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hour and a half.
90 minutes.
So if you average that out, we're at an hour and a half.
I am still, and I wear with a badge of honor. We had a 6-player TI 4.
In 3, is that what it was?
Well, we played Twilight Imperium 4th edition.
No, in 3 hours.
In 3 hours, and everybody knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it helped that everybody knew how to play the game.
Of course.
But it wasn't like, oh, I'm just taking my turn, I don't care. Like everybody was trying to win.
It was still close.
The game still took. It only took 3 hours.
Yeah, which is awesome.
With everybody trying.
Like, what an experience getting TI4 in 3 hours. Oh, what a great experience.
I know. I got to play other things, too. I was so excited. I had my cake and I ate it, too, right?
Yeah.
I got to play a
You're
game.
not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
The expression says so.
I had a game that I love. It's a fantastic game. But the knock on it is that it can run so long.
Yeah, it's an event.
So to get to do it and do other things was amazing. So guys, let us know what you think of the new format. So we're going to try this out for a little bit. We're going to do top 5s in a separate episode, and probably like every other week.
Yeah, they obviously won't be weekly anymore.
Yep.
We don't want to get, tired of them. We don't want you guys to get tired of them. So, yeah, we'll do... I don't know. I think it's really cool having. If you guys want to see a top 5, you come here for a top 5, right? And if you want to see the new show, you come here for the new show. Those are very different things, and I think mixing them is probably only hurting you guys. So we're gonna see how splitting them up does for you.
And if you hate it, tell us so we know, right? I mean, that's the
but
best
maybe
way.
Don't say on this video immediately that you hate it because you haven't seen how it works yet. So maybe.
And be sure to check out our Facebook page. It's the Board Game Rundown. Answer the questions. We'll let you in the group.
Yep.
We are very active there. With not only with asking people questions about games and posting pictures of games we played. There's members of the group are posting pictures of the games they played. We try to keep the community very positive and supportive. So, no shenanigans.
That's
right?
also where we reach out for Blood on the Clock Tower. And if you're on our Facebook, you will get to join our Discord and play.
Yes. Also, be sure to check out our friends at the Board Game Rundown. We're the Board Game Rundown.
check out our friends at the Board Game Rundown. They're all right.
Well, see, I got myself tied up because there's another podcast that I'm going to tell you to check out. They're brand new, so get in early.
So the first one, though, is check out the Board Game Mechanics. They're
pretty okay.
They are pretty okay, and we like them. Jason,
you know the Katie person that puts like really depressing long comments in all of our videos that probably turn you guys off. She's from Board Game Mechanics.
Dan's just mad because he gets called out. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if someone clicks on our videos, the first thing they see is I fell asleep during this episode. What are you doing, Katie?
She's taking the time to comment.
Yeah, that's true.
And we appreciate appreciate that.
Yeah, I do anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Jason's got Katie's on some of the YouTube videos, but Jason is uploading multiple videos a week with reviews and all kinds of stuff. And he checks out everything. So there's vintage games, there's new games. They've got a lot of really pretty okay content. And then, like I said, the podcast. And then there's a new podcast that has just started called We're So Bored. Bored spelled like board game.
like a beard.
Yeah, like a beard with an O instead of an E. But what they do is they will pick a game and they will be like, would you rather play this game or would you rather stand in the line at the DMV, right?
What?
So,
Okay.
so far in the first 2 episodes, they've talked about Catan. And they've talked.
We'll go stand at the DMV.
And they talked about Betrayal of the House on the Hill.
Ooh.
Okay. I haven't actually played a whole lot of that.
But I think, so when I listened to the Catan episode, I'm going to reach out to them and be like,
to go stand in the
have
line
you
for
guys
DMV?
gone? No, it's like, I like Catan, but really you guys should try out Starfarers.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
I would play that.
So engage with them, I guess is what I'm saying. Is their format is very much like,
Okay,
hey,
how can you comment on a podcast? Is there like a spot for that?
well, you could just message them or get on their Facebook page.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Send feedback, put in the comments in your rating.
Your rating.
Rate an episode.
Gotcha.
So, guys, thank you again. Liking, subscribing. Don't forget about the Edge of Darkness giveaway. 500 subs is all we need, and you just got to comment on that video. It'd be great, right? Cool. So, for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.